Crypto market is showing a little bit of green, and that's a lot of interest, right? For all of us who are in crypto, this is interesting. But today, I can say this, if you are staying till the end, you are going to see something even better. And if you have XRP in your portfolio, this is going to be an important session. This was like a deep dive which I went through. You'll have to go through all these documents, which I will go through and show you what it means, because that's a lot of interest for a lot of people. Why is that? If you have XRP in your portfolio and you are looking for this and how these connections work really with all these central banks right now coming out. Now, right now when you are looking for all these central bank digital currencies coming out, it does give you a perspective of where this is coming from, because on the other end you are looking for Fed doing the digital dollar project at a time when a lot of different Asian countries, African countries are moving away from dollar. And as we go through, you're going to get the great perspective here. But before that, do we have bad news? Yes, we do. This does not look good. This does not look good. And especially this one, it can be just a fear-mongering tactic from the US, but it still does not look good. It won't help the market for sure. And then this one really is interesting, which actually point back to the AI's last post. And I'm like, okay, that's great. And I literally went through that stuff to understand how that works. And if this video don't go too long, I'll try to share that too. The market is interesting. We've been doing this. And yeah, trading is not bad. We were able to buy at the bottom, sell somewhere close to the tops, and then buy back and all. But this is stressful. Even though I share all of this in the link in the Patreon. If you have time and you want to look through the tradings, you can look at the link. It's given in the description below. Anyway, if you are going to go through this one and you're interested to know how Ripple, XRP, and everything related to XRP and Interledger protocol is connected with the central bank digital currencies, hit that like button. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of the world. This is another channel which we have recently started. It's slowly picking up, and I'm happy you guys are giving me a response after watching the video, what to improve, how to improve and all, and thanks a lot for that. Now we are going back into the technicals first, and right back we'll jump back into the fundamentals of what we talked about. This is XRP BTC pair showing you there is something evolving. Last time you had this wick, price bottomed and then it went up. Now you're trying to do the same thing at a time when the MACD also is trying to cross back to the upside, which is positive. So you have some room here to make this bull flag in XRP BTC pair. You go to XRP Ether, and with what we just saw in Ether, if they're selling Ether, we also saw like Vitalik or Vitalik, I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry for that, if he is selling that asset, 3,000 units, then yeah, the scammer can sell more than that, right? If the project leader itself is doing that at a time like this, that will happen. So you may see XRP strengthening against Ether. That's a possibility, because we've been trending inside this pattern for a long time. We broke higher here. We retested. We did not come back inside like all these times. So something changed. And what was that change? The RSI shows you the MACD reaffirms the same idea. Now you move on to XRP USD pair to look like this. A possible double bottom when the RSI is showing you a bullish divergence. This really goes in well. But it's really concerning that Bitcoin is a little bit slow, even though the indicator actually suggests to you there is a possibility of a reversal. We definitely need to see 18 to 19,000 breaking and Bitcoin coming back into this range. If not, it can go up here, get rejected and come back down. That is always a possibility, because the entire altcoin market, it's also showing the same thing. It's following Bitcoin. It's just XRP is moving up right now because we know what's coming ahead, right? Tomorrow it's the swell event starting. We are all anticipating big announcement. And if that does not happen, market will be disappointed. that means people will dump. So you need to keep an eye on that. Usually, historically, we see this swell event, the price goes up. By the time it ends, and if the market don't get what it really wants, it drops. So that's how things actually work. Now, let's go back into these and see like, okay, what's really happening, right? So first one, here India approves voter accounts for 9 banks to help promote trade in rupees. So that's in support for the rupee towards Russian currency trade, which is not good in the USD terms. But for the BRICS nations, that's great because they are now getting more tie-ups, they're getting new countries coming in, and they are deepening their ties. Now going back to what Crypto Area was highlighting, if you look at this one, the real question here is what's it about? Exchange trading or payment solutions? And right now we understand it's about payment solutions. There is no doubt on that. Now we have a lot to cover. That's why I'm running as fast as possible. Great. Now, going back to 2020 article, Google and Gates Foundation to help spread digital payments in developing countries. Great. Yes, it's Gates. A lot of people don't want to see that name, but it is there in a lot of different projects. Then you come here. Now, before reading that one, you need to see what this is about. South Africa concludes technical proof of concept for its CBDC settlement system. Now, they are also working on different projects, right? Multiple fronts. So this is first one happening here on the project Coca, right? And we know that there were different projects happening for central bank digital currencies like Project Urban and others. And read this here. The project findings also highlighted the regulatory, operational, business impact, blah, 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 blah. Nevertheless, the new technology would be used to streamline multiple infrastructures into a single platform. To do what? Reliability, security, and bi-directional bridge. They are talking about a bridge asset in one technology, and that's where I get really bullish. Now, going back to all these different central bank digital currency projects, like say Project Coca or eCedi, or then looking general different countries like here, they are talking about South Africa is also working with Australia, Malaysia, Singapore on a CBDC pilot. Great. Now we go look at Singapore, right? And they talk about a lot of different things inside the crypto place, and it's actually done by Center of Excellence, which was established by Moja Loop. Now, if you know what Moja Loop is, you already understand the importance or the level at which this is right now. This is something I'll zoom in and let you guys read through with me. The Gates Foundation is partnering with Ripple Labs and digital payments firm Coil, which is again on XRP Ledger, to implement Interledger protocol. To do what? To explore the ways Moja Loop can support pro-poor payment system, that is like low-cost payment system. Moja Loop is an open-source mobile payment platform geared to promote mobile payments in developing world. So that's what the agenda is right now. And you go through a lot of these different countries where migration is happening in the Western country. People are sending money back. So Canadian dollar to Indian rupees, dollar to Indian rupees. All of that is going to be streamlined. Now going back, Moja Loop and financial inclusion. If you remember, we've been so specific on this initial couple of years in this channel, taking on all the new articles coming in. And some of this we went through at that time. Why is that? The narrative right now is shifting to that point. Yes, it took like 2 years, but it's finance, right? It's money. And that's how things work there. So as you go through this, they always talk about financial inclusion. It's about Singapore, one country. Then you go back, you see like different nations are involved in this. South Africa, we just saw how Gates Foundation is entering there, and Gates Foundation entering in South Africa and Google entering into these developing countries with Gates Foundation. What does that mean? For me, that's just this, because they are talking it clearly. There is nothing different. It's 100% this one, because you go to the Gates Foundation and you see them talking about the same stuff. Now, as we progress, you are looking at Moja Loop way in Africa and Asia, and that's Gates Foundation, right? Since Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is actually doing this on Moja Loop, which is again great. Now, where is this being highlighted? At Cyber's conference in Toronto 2017, right? And this is like, okay, Swift, no, these kind of big guys. Now, whether or not we like Gates, the way he pushed the vaccine narrative and how that worked out, you all know that. So if you want or not, that happened. Similarly, whether a lot of people agree with them or not, this payment system is actually coming soon. I don't think it's going to be slowed down, because as I read through this, I'm like, okay, that's huge. Mojaloop is a tool that can help reduce traditional barriers. Take that words that banks and financial services providers face to interoperability. Going back to this one, what are they talking about, Mojaloop? Connecting it to here, Interledger. For what? Interledger protocol, to give that ability for all this one. Now, going back, this one is from UN, right? At the UN, they're actually trying to do this. Charting Cooperation for Inclusive, Trusted Digital Public Infrastructure at the UN, and you come down. Now, as you go through, you have to literally read through a lot, but we are trying to run, right? So we come here. Bill Gates, co-chair of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, said this. It's fantastic to see many more countries join in. Many more countries. Great. Okay. Countries such as Germany, France, Norway are all stepping up their commitment. So it will be for sure on a ledger which is interoperable with all of these towards that agenda. Great. It's maybe just data gathering, who knows, but that's happening. The gathering was also opportunity to donors to contribute blah 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 towards what? Building foundations for sustainable digital development. So the narrative here of financial inclusion and low cost payments is going high. Now, you can say like, okay, it's just Bill and Melinda Gates, but as you go through this, I'm sure I read Mojaloop connecting it back towards Interledger protocol, which is the interoperability layer. Yeah, it's here. It's pretty fantastic that we now have open source projects for the identity part and Mojaloop for financial transactions. This is being said by Gates. Both are part of digital public infrastructure and are fairly inexpensive to implement. Now, you can go as deep as you want, but this does not show you, like XRP does not have any use case. There will be a lot of people who will say it's only being used by 6 people. And I'm like, okay, this is literally showing you the world is using it. Now, why I use world? Look at the population. It's really concentrated in the developing world. Look at India, China, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Africa. You have the majority of the population there, right? So that does give us a basic idea of where we are going. And on the other front, we just got news that digital dollar pilot is coming. That's really interesting because on the other side, BRICS is tying up. They are going on with new and they really don't want to get out. So this one goes back into that one in Africa, right? Google selected 9 startups for fintech incubation program. So this is April 2022, earlier this year. And what is important here? The Ministry of ICT and Innovation Rwanda and Mojaloop Foundation have announced the 9 startups selected. So here, Mojaloop is not a startup applying, give me an opportunity. I'm great. No, this one is working with the government there. So you need to understand the reach of this as they go in towards the CBDC environment. Now, whether or not we agree with all this and it feel a little bit of conspiracy for you, this is happening. These are like the 9 different fintech companies coming in, and it's happening with the partnership from government and Mojaloop Foundation. It's like, okay, the Gates is putting hands everywhere. But, we can't do anything about that. The reality is this, and if you are an investor, then you're literally looking for fundamentals and how things are aligning. Because as you go to the Gates Foundation, which is really important as we use their name and this foundation again and again to highlight how things go. Their strategy, okay, their strategy. We work to broaden the reach of low-cost digital financial service for the poor by supporting what we and our partners believe are most catalytic approaches for financial inclusion. And if you just saw like Germany, Norway, France and all, they are the partners working on to this same idea. If you go back in the video, we talked about that, right? So this is right now coming in a way that it's not just naming one country. which are the largest number of people living in the poverty stand to benefit, including Bangladesh, India, Nigeria, Pakistan, Indonesia, East Africa. So what we just talked about is written here in a different words, but the same theme. Now, why is that going to be fast? Because right now people are trying all different ways. Look at this. This is not like something new. The Linux Foundation and FinTech Open Source Foundation announced conference schedule for Open Source Financial Forum, New York. So this is happening in US and this is a recent one. Okay, let's just accept that shit. Fine. So as we progress, this question of new financial inclusion stuff with low cost payments is not something which is just coming into the market. It's been building there in the market, and it just show you like how all these big players are trying to get into this. This is open source readiness, right? So it's not like, okay, we are just going to be the centralized player, we'll only use the centralized system. It's not working like that. Okay, so as we continue, inside the same article, as you go through, you actually see this, right? And that for me is something really big, because if we go on to what they are talking about, understand this is from where? Coming from Mojalo Foundation, right? Financial interoperability for the desktop and beyond. And what are they talking about? Digital public good are bringing 10 trillion informal economy into the digital payments. They're saying the unbanked are going to be banked using this one, and that informal economy, $10 trillion is going to come onto this one, which is actually a huge stuff. I don't know how many of you guys actually have thought about that, right? This is like new stuff, recent. And when they talk about this 10 trillion economy coming on, you get this everywhere. You get the talk about open source software. Now, that's what XRP Ledger is, right? And what they are talking about is, if successful, $10 trillion informal economy could have a direct pathway to the digital finance sector. I'm like, okay, that's really great. The way this is going is really interesting. And if you still feel that's a lot of conspiracy, these are all facts which we are showing here. Whether you go all the way towards BIS, SWIFT, and all those extra stuff, you will end up with these two names. And it's, really confusing to see like, okay, a lot of other players are here in the system, but the winners, remember this, the winners are these. And that's, done by BIS and SWIFT. That's the Bank of International Settlements and SWIFT. So automatically when I see this there and saying, okay, ISO 20022 to bridge the last mile and bring cross-border payments to the users in emerging markets, whatever we have gone through right now comes in here. And this is not that old. It's just like last 1 year, and they are working on this. So all these new articles which came after this kind of goes about this, kind of builds on top of this. So when they talk about two winners, for what? Solutions to help enhance cross-border payments using ISO 20022. That's interesting for me, because it's actually showing you the winners were chosen by a panel included experts from Bank of England. You need to understand that. That's England, UK, then Singapore, ECB, Europe, Federal Reserve System, okay, that's UK's Innovative Finance, then Australia's NPP, Payments Canada, SWIFT, Sweden's Swish. So if you look at all these countries, that's like most of them, big guys, right? Bank of England, ECB, Singapore, Federal Reserve, Australia, Payments Canada, all of this is there. And who are the winners? That's what's really interesting. So they already know about this system, and you can argue that, it's the impact from the gates. Whatever it is, they know about this and they know it's working. Unlike central bank digital currency trials going on to Ether, and they're saying, no, this does not work. This is not scalable. This is not good for us. This is opposite. This works. So if there is a real solution in the market, that's ton of value. And the price is low. If you're an investor, that's what you want. You want the asset's value to be sky high and the price, because of the market psychology, to be low, so you can buy and take that opportunity. Guys, if you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. I hope that wasn't boring and that wasn't too long. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.